Hello, and this is a book review. Interesting ideas, takeaways that I found in this book. Everybody Lies. Let's see. This one is location that elect Trump are also location who were high on search of nigger. So they found that the locations or countries, counties that were electing Trump also search. It's a Google search review trend, Google Trends, what people were searching the most, and they found a correlation. So this big data shows that what food people dream about has nothing to do with subconscious thoughts, rather than it's just food that are popular. So some people people think about foods and it means all sort of things. Some like the psychoanalysis. I'm not sure which one, but they have this idea. But what they found out that it has nothing to do with, and most people just dream about popular foods or bananas, cucumbers, tomatoes, etc. No meaning. Next one is Walmart data shows that before storms, people stocking on strawberry cans. Why? We don't know. So we'll know that, and before storms they stock, I'm not sure all locations, but most some locations, when before storms, this is what people buy the most, and they get thousands of them in advance. But that's what data shows, but we don't know why. Next one is type of language can serve media bias. Homosexuals versus same gender, or US is or are divided. So the use of language can be can serve a bias. So when you say, for example, US is or are divided, you're already planting something inside the heads. Or homosexuals versus same gender. Same gender sound like, okay, that's something that is okay to do already just by the wording. So the more question marks are in the date, the less likely to succeed. So also data, that's what I like. It's all data shows, a big data, just like a big gathering of data, but the more questions marks, so more questions basically that are thrown into the hair, the less likely the date will succeed. So means that the chemistry is not right. Data shows that people share more positive stories than the other stories, unlike predictions. So predictions predict that people care more or share more about bad or bad news or sad news, whatever you want to call it. But data shows that there is no such correlation. And there are actually more people sharing more good stories, positive stories. Next one is newspapers tends to be more liberal, but this is just the market because most readers tend to be liberal. And I find it really good. Always like people are angry about the fact, and always, not a lot of people, but it's a known thing that the media is more liberal and tends to be left-leaning. And the reason is not because they have they have a conspiracy here, but this is most of their readers, and they write for the readers, and that's really interesting. Whereas the lines in a gas station can show economic performance of the country. That's pretty cool. So the longest the lines mean, if there is lines in the gas stations, means that the economy doesn't do good and the country is not doing good. So there is some kind of a problem. Next one is data is everything. Clicks, searches, dislikes, typos, etc. Everything can be gathered as data, and everything meaning, even typos. They have Google, they have it also, and those mean something. So even things that you're in like in day-to-day you wouldn't look at it, but everything could be used. This one is, we lie in servers just like in normal life because we want to look good to the other side, even when anonymous. I think it's a very important point that sometimes, the service, but when, why would they lie? They have a reason to lie, or this is not a reason, but this is what they do. They don't want to get across as not normal, and you might lie even if you have nothing to lose or nothing to gain. It's more nothing to gain. You will lie anyway. Interesting. Next one is around 2010, searches of how to make my butt bigger tripled thanks to Kim Kardashian. They found out around 2012 there was more searches of this, and he correlated it with Kim Kardashian. So people were more aware and they were looking for how to get their butt bigger. So it seems like that white nationalists are visiting New York Times as well. So you find out that people that are looking for that are more right-leaning will also go to the New York Times. His idea is, I think they just want to get their age, but many of their visitors are people that are not necessarily or not identify with their views. So it is on Facebook, due to a large circle of friends we have, we're more likely to get exposed to different views than ours. People think that on Facebook, because there is like a lot of you have like this echo chamber, but data shows that you're actually more exposed in this way because you have a larger circle of friends that one do alike to another one, so you're very exposed to many people now, more than you would otherwise. So as Facebook learned that people can be outraged about a new feature but still use it a lot. Now they found out that even when people don't like the feature and complain a lot about it, they might still use it because they just can't avoid it. I don't remember exactly the service, but just the idea of it is interesting. So as Netflix learned that whatever people add to their list is not what they're most likely to watch. They're lying to themselves by adding known movies. They found out that after changing the algorithm to show not what's in your list, what you added to the list, just things they think you would like, that was more successful because people just said, oh, that's a known movie, I need to watch it, but they never actually watch it. They always fall for different shows, and they will watch more that way. Next one is Google searches data shows that people are afraid to ask dumb questions they don't know the answer for. Many of the Google's searches are dumb questions, but people don't want to ask those, so they ask Google. Next one is getting rich in America is only within few cities. In the rest of the cities is the same with the rest of the world. The American dream, but it shows that most cities is not it's not true. It's only a few cities that most people get rich from. This one is more healthcare and less pollution does not help the poor to live longer. What helps is rich people in the area because behavior is contagious. So people think that if we give them more money, or not more money, more health, and care, that would help. But data shows that what really helps is there is rich people around and the poor have something to strive for, so it's contagious. This one is data shows that people who don't cheat in their taxes just don't know how. It's all about information. And they found it out that when more people are aware, when there is people that are aware, it's also contagious. It's not that you don't want to. Most people, again, it's most people, but many people just don't know how. They don't have the opportunity. They will do it. Next one is innovation in creativeness could be seen in college towns or in places there is speciality in specific fields, both a result of seeing others and learning from others. So that's the same idea of contagious, in that everything is, not everything, but many things are contagious. And innovation in creativeness is, or in places that everyone has like a speciality, but the way it works is by seeing others. You see others, you learn, you become different. Next one is data shows in weekends that violence movies are shown, less violence is present in the streets, probably because those people are watching a movie now. They found some kind of correlation, and that's the theory, is that there is less violence because the people that will be violent right now watching a movie and they're not bored looking for fights. Interesting. Next one is A/B testing is very successful tool with performing and perfecting and influencing people's behavior. A/B testing is one of the greatest findings. I think the first to use it was Google. I'm not sure. It has a story there, but it's so successful and very influential, and they learn so much of it. Like social media, they learn a lot about it, and things are becoming more and more addictive by A/B testing. They try A, it doesn't work, okay, B, and they have, it's very fast. That's what he's saying. It's very fast because usually you don't have to do a legit experiment. You have it right there. You just change one line and you're good. Really interesting. In your neighbor, if your neighbor win the lottery and buy a new car, that makes you more prone to buy the car too. And find out what's happening to the streets. Neighbors of the person that won the lottery, they're more likely to buy new stuff too. It's contagious again. When his data shows that students got accepted to Ivy League schools and didn't go earned the same income. People think that, if you go to the Ivy League, that's what's interesting. That's what's important. But data shows that it doesn't matter that much. And if you get accepted to both and you went to another one, you will still earn the same thing. So it's more, maybe the idea is that it's more about intelligence or competence. Next one is the problem of dimensionality. When too many variables are taken into account, some of them will be statistically significant. You might think you're onto something, you found something. So when there is too many things, too many variables you can change, you will always find something significant, and you might attribute that to whatever you are looking for. But when there is so many variables, you don't know what's going on. And if you find something significant, it's not necessarily this one. I would give an example, but it's a little more, I don't remember the examples, but he has a few very good ones, and it's interesting and very important. Next one is, in some cases, casino might offer a guest a free night or a free meal. The reason to do so is because the guest is now on the verge of losing too much and not come back. And every person has this, and they found out in casinos that has a point of breaking. So and the casino if someone has a $3,000 limit, when he goes to 3,000, he go home. They want to know where is it. And when they see the person is close and they probably gathering data, they will come offer him some kind of like a night, a free night or free meal. They just don't want him to break. They want him to come back. Interesting tactic. Next one is, when writing a conclusion for a book, we need to think what we are trying to convey in the book. He's like, it's a little funny, he has like a part in the end that he's like talking about conclusion while he is concluding the book. But what he found out that the best way to conclude is to think what you're trying to convey and talk about it a little bit. Interesting. Overall, this book was pretty good. Interesting data. I like it, and it's pretty straight to the point. Not much bullshit, and it's not too long if I remember right. I did recommend that book. I give it 4 stars. I thought maybe even give it 5, but it's not that good. It's like in between. That is it. Thank you.